Time to have a look at what's going on in France, because yesterday, of course, a massive day of protest, a massive day of sort of general strike and interaction between the police and the people. Gavin Mortimer is here, French correspondent at the Spectator. Gavin, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
Good stuff. Good to see you. It's always sort of. It's usually the harbinger of summer, really, when you see the French police getting stuck in with their batons and their helmets to the general populace. But there was a lot of action going on yesterday.
Yeah, there was. I was up in Paris. Paris actually was a very middle-class protest. Lots of students there. And I saw more Palestinian flags than I did French flags.
Blimey.
And that was the general theme of the day. It was what had started out, this protest movement, Block Everything, was launched a couple of months ago. And it was, I suppose the best way to describe it, Mike, it was a howl of anger and despair from the silent majority, but it was quickly hijacked by the far left.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, some of the hard left unions launched block protests across the country, everywhere really, from Le Havre in the north down to the far south of the country. There was, I think there were about 600 arrests, but it wasn't as bad as the police had feared, because there were reports of the extreme left, Antifa and Black Bloc were going to get involved. But as I said, I was up in Paris yesterday, and as you can see there, from the, there are a lot of middle-class students and not the toughest guys in the world. And as you mentioned, the French police, the CRS, the riot squad, there's some big boys there, and they were ready for any trouble, and there was a bit of trouble, but generally, yeah, not much.
They weren't there. They weren't messing around, were they? So, I mean, it's sort of not as bad as we thought it might be. Then is that the end of it for the next week or two, or what's happening today?
Well, it's going to be interesting, Mike, because on September the 18th. There is a day of industrial action by most of the unions, and that, I think, has the potential to paralyse the country. I mean, interestingly, yesterday I was watching the French news when I came back from Paris, and you saw some footage of sort of angry confrontations between protesters and people trying to get to work.
Right.
It reminded me a bit. Do you remember a couple of years ago at Canning Town?
Yes.
There was some Extinction Rebellion idiots.
Absolutely.
Blocked a tube, and they were dragged down by commuters trying to get to work. And it's very much this sort of these middle-class privileged people blocking working people getting to work, and that's what happened yesterday in France. And some of these, the angry commuters said, what are you doing? If you want to block something, block the Elysee Palace, block Parliament, but don't block us on the ring roads trying to get to work. And I think this is very much what you're seeing. In a way, you're seeing this privileged far left minority, very similar in composition to the UK, and the general population, the silent majority, who are in despair at the cost of living crisis, mass immigration, etc., and they're not being listened to in Parliament by the politicians.
No, absolutely right. It's a sort of Western European malaise we're all suffering from at the moment, but heaven forbid, maybe they'll grow up and get proper jobs one of these days and not live off the parents and get the Volvo into work every time. Gavin, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Gavin Mortimer, French correspondent at The Spectator.